Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, as I indicated this morning, we have some really interesting conversation, and as we continue our conversation, we are chatting with the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis, Minister of Sport and Community Development, as well as the MP for Tobago West. Now, before we went off to the break, we were chatting a bit on a number of projects happening in the Tobago space, talking a little bit about funding from the central government. And before we got into that, we were talking about the Tobago Autonomy Bill. What does that mean for Tobago economically, financially, and when it comes to making laws here in Tobago for Tobago? But we're going to shift gears a bit because we don't have much time this morning and there's so much that we can actually chat about. But the bell, we know it's about to ring. You know, when you start anticipating that it's about to be launched, you haven't heard the bell ringing yet, but you know, you start looking at the clock because it's about to be launched soon. So in that same vein, we know that the election bell is about to be rung very, very, very soon. And we heard that you said publicly that you are going to be putting yourself back up for office. For consideration. So does that mean that you also have to go through the same screening process as everyone else again?
Yes, the party has its screening process. So it's about the party groups supporting you and you going and facing the interviewers and so on. So I'm hopeful. We see where it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
So are there other persons that you know of that has put their name forth or
For Tobago West?
for Tobago West that are also looking to compete for?
Not to my knowledge. And I try not to be distracted by that. On the day, whoever shows up for interviews, I wish them the very best. It's always good to know that you have persons who have the desire to change Tobago and to do good for Trinidad and Tobago. At the end of the day, somebody must win. And we jump on board and do the work that's necessary to bring Tobago and the nation to where we want to see it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, 3 consecutive terms.
This would be a third term once contested and won.
Okay, so this would be 3. You were in opposition before.
I entered Parliament as an opposition senator.
Right.
That was the year the PNM lost terribly to the People's Partnership. I started in opposition.
So you have served in the Parliament for about 3 terms so
I've
far.
served in Parliament.
Right, but
for
as a
roughly 3
minister, it would have
terms.
been
Yeah.
2,
2 terms,
right?
yes.
So that's 3 terms in Parliament and a 4th one if successful in the upcoming election. Now, what are some of the things that you felt like within those 3 terms you weren't able to achieve that this 4th term is going to do it for you?
I think I don't like to count the first term because when you're in opposition, as they say in opposition, you have your say while the government has its way. In the opposition, you can talk and talk and talk and talk, but there's not much that you can do. So in the opposition was primarily being a voice for the people and saying what you would like. But then when you're in government, it's about delivering on your promises. And I've served in the capacity as Minister of Tourism from 2015 to 2018. During that time, we restored to Tobago I shouldn't say restored, we granted to Tobago for the first time access to the tourism room upgrade program, because when I went there, I recognized that Tobago businesses were not accessing that. It was only given to Trinidad, where we assist hoteliers and so on with up to 50% of their cost to upgrade their spaces. I saw as Minister of Tourism that Tobago was not treated fairly in the TDC as it relates to Tourism Developed Company, and I helped to do the research, bring in a researcher and consultants and so on, so that Tobago can have its own marketing entity. Hence the reason we have TTAL today, and Trinidad could have its own marketing entity, giving us the opportunity to take Tobago to where we want to go without the obstruction of having to go through the TDC. We speak to tourism clubs in schools. Some people don't remember, some people don't know that that came under My Watch. Tobago having its own seat at the Caribbean Tourism Organization, that also was from under My Watch. States a Getaway and giving support to local tourism here in Tobago. It was also during that first term that we restored Tobagonians getting access to self-help, because in 2013, when the UNC and the TOP lost the Tobago House of Assembly election, Tobago was cut off from self-help. So it was about restoring those services back to Tobago, ensuring that for grants and so on, even in areas that are under the watch of the Tobago House of Assembly, that Tobagonians can also access through central government grants for agriculture, grants for home development, and so on. It's under this term also we did the where we now have our own boats, the ferries, because before we leased and we had much more problems in the inter-island transport than we do now. We tried the sandals thing, it didn't work, but it's all about development for Tobago and developing Tobagonians in a developing Tobago. In my capacity as Minister of Youth, we brought programs like 40 Under 40, because I am very, very serious about people development. It's one thing to build buildings. As you know, infrastructure development in Tobago is primarily under the Tobago House of Assembly. So it would be developing programs and making sure Tobagonians have access to programs so that they can grow. As Minister of Sport, of course, we have national programs like Shaping Communities, April Pools, that we do in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly, sport camps, grants and financial support and so on to individual athletes, community groups, and so on. Of course, we have done some work as it relates to the refurbishment of the Dwight York Stadium. We've seen the Hillsborough Dam, the work done at Hillsborough Dam that was promised over 30 years since I was a school child. We've seen pipeline projects through Wassa. We've lit some places for the first time, like Big Stick Gully, and we improved their lighting. And then to I think it's Pigot Trace in Canby, we gave them lights for the first time, street lights for the first time. So the list goes on and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, it's about giving hope and giving opportunities to Tobagonians, and we intend to continue in that vein.
Right. And prior to this election, you were Shamfa Cudjoe. Now you are Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis. So
Yes.
that means that a new family
Yes.
has entered into the equation, and we know how, you know, the political scene is here in Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago. Oftentimes it's quite traumatic for the families involved. And well, we can see that the Cudjoe family are senior in the game now. You know, they have understood the mission. They know what it takes. They understand the impact that it might have on you as well as the family, and how persons are often targeted in your family because you are putting yourself up for political office, especially when it's election time. Have you had that conversation with the new family? Do you think that they are prepared for what really comes with elections?
I think my husband knows what he signed up for. I think he understands me, and we try to run our thing to the best of our ability, where it's about us, and don't get carried away by the lights and all the other stuff. There are people who say the nastiest things about me. When my husband and when people come to tell me some of the things they hear about me, we laugh. When my mother come home and tell me some of the things she heard, when I hear some of the things people say about me, I say, thank God that God still reigns in the heaven, and he's responsible for everything. If it was up to man, the kind of things that would have happened to me, I wouldn't still be sitting here with you. So I've gotten accustomed to the nasty things said, but and even nasty things done and hoped for. But I believe in God, and I believe in what he has done on my life and what he still has to do for me. The world is a circle, and what you wish for others, life has a funny way of bringing it right back to your doorstep. So I try not to pay attention, because at the end of the day, you're busy talking about me and saying dirty things about me. You had children, you had grandchildren, you have brothers, you have sisters. I've heard things about my family members, brothers, sisters. I've seen somebody circulating, holding a picture that they plan to use at election time and all that kind of thing. I try not to get swayed or distracted by that, because I know the truth. God knows the truth, and at the end of the day, God is still in the heavens. I believe it so strongly. So none of that
and
thing
having
shakes
that
me.
conversation with the extended family, his family and everybody, having that discussion on a whole, how important is that for you as you build your support system around you during such a time?
I think choosing the right person is important. And I know I've married a man and not a boy. And he stands for me. He guides, he directs, he protects. I know he's in my corner. So no matter what I hear out there, or sometimes you go out there and you face the world with so much madness, and I go home and he's a place of comfort and peace and strength and security and prayers, you know. So I know I have a good man. So at the end of the day, I think my family, it's, to be honest with you too, sometimes it could get really sickening. And they didn't sign up for that, you know. They didn't sign up for that, but they have to go through that. And by some of the things that other people have access to, just because I'm a politician, they cannot access it because you're Shamfa Cudjoe brother, or you're Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis sister, or, you know, and it's unfair. But at the end of the day, it's just the type of business that politics is. Of course, we grew up Rasta primarily, so we didn't grow up in politics. This is my choice. When I became of age, I took this decision to enter politics, and it's unfortunate that my siblings have to go through some of what they go through, but it's all for the greater good. And I believe that what we're doing is for the greater good of Tobago and the country. And in the end, as Jared will say, Jesus would provide.
Right. And even as you go towards this election, do you think this is your final go at it as you focus on family, or would we see, is this the beginning of what Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis has to offer Tobago?
At the end of the day, it's about service to people. And I think how long I'm going to remain in this, it's not so much my call, you know, it's more so the people's call, because it's the people who have to vote you, not even the PNM's call, but the wider public. And if the people ask me to run and to represent them, I will do so. And as it relates to working for the development of Tobago, as long as that remains on the forefront of the PNM, I would continue to do so. I strongly believe in the work that we are doing. And once the people ask me to represent them and I'm in good health and my husband is all right with it, and I have the freedom to. Now, anyway, if my family expands,
right,
then you have to think on it. But for the most part, it's all about offering myself. It's about service. And the people know who they want and what they want. And I trust them and their wisdom. And once they ask me and I'm able to, I'll offer myself.
What do you think is the mission, the vision going into this other term, if you are successful, that is different from what you have offered in your history of being the MP for Tobago West?
I think that my brand is solid. I think that it is consistent, and it's all about people development. I speak to people about empowerment, and I encourage people to set yourself up in such a way and make use of the opportunities before you in such a way so that it doesn't matter if PNM win or UNC win or whatever, that you can stand on your own. And that's what it's about. Somebody come to me asking for morning work, I try to direct them as to how they could develop their own business, how they could register their business and so on. Because I think Tobagonians have so much talent and we depend too much on the government could do this. Or, you know, when I say Tobagonians, I mean individuals. You must look at yourself and what God has put you here to do first, and pursue those goals relentlessly, no matter who's in power. It's about empowerment. It's also about rebuilding trust in the system. I want to encourage young people to read and research, because we are going to be a thing of the past very soon. I'm 42. I remember just the other day I was the youth. You know, now I'm far from that. And these youngsters who are coming up, they have to desire that passion to read and to research and to have a position and to dream big. So for me, it's about that kind of empowerment and creating opportunity for Tobagoanians. So that's what it's all about for me, continuing in the work, developing Tobago, internal self-government, of course. And you know, it's interesting that when you talk to people, people sort of got tired of the conversation. They feel like it's a political thing, but it's about keeping that hope alive and taking Tobago from stage to stage, because much of what we're doing now, yes, it would redound to our benefit, but it's more so for those young ones who are coming up with the big ideas and the crazy dreams and the crazy visions as to what they want to see for Tobago and for the country.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for your time this morning. We want to thank you for making it a point to come and discuss with Tobagoanians on a number of the topics that we discussed this morning. I want to thank our audience for staying with us this morning. I want to thank you guys for your likes, your shares, and your comments. And we want to encourage you to continue doing all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, we say thank you to Her Excellency Harriet Cross, who is the British High Commissioner, for coming in this morning. And, you know, we bid her farewell. And again, we want to say thank you to the MP for Tobago West, the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis, for being here this morning, guys. Have a great day.